Hey, folks, it's Mark Arum. I hope you're enjoying the Mark Arum Show podcast. A reminder, you can hear this very radio show live Monday through Friday. We're live 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. I hereby claim that this election is not over. Welcome to the program, 6:08, 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. A supersized edition of the Mark Arum Show with you live until 9 p.m. because we're doing Election Night Part Deux. Part 2. It's not over yet, despite the president's claims on Twitter. Rudy Giuliani's claims they are still counting votes, and we're going to be right there with them as they count votes, and we'll give you updates throughout the night and the overnight, and we'll have the very latest tomorrow morning on Atlanta's Morning News. We're going to start political. We're going to give you the lay of the land, what's going on locally and nationally with Election 2020. Greg Bluestein from the AJC is going to join us in 30 minutes, but we're going to have some fun, too. We're going to do a little presidential edition of Millennial Match Game. Johnny Kielbasa will join us with a fast food review, and most importantly, we will eventually get your calls on day 2 of Election 2020. Joining us live in studio, WSB radio and television political analyst Bill Crane. Bill, it's not often someone bumps me off TV in the morning and then I invite him onto my radio show at night. So you're in rare air, my friend.
Well, I'd like to be considered a special friend of the Mark Arum Show.
I was so happy this morning. So the producers in my ears like, hey, we got a Bill Crane interview coming up. We're going to have to skip your traffic. I was like, yes. I was like, thank you, Bill Crane. Anyway, thank you for coming in. Folks just getting in their car now. They've been out of the loop, perhaps, with the election today. They've been at work. Where do we stand now? We'll start nationally. Where are we nationally with the presidential race?
The race is tightened with Joe Biden now having 253 of a needed 270 electoral votes. Most recently, the state of Michigan was called for the Biden campaign. Wisconsin is leaning in the direction of the Biden camp. Nevada has been leaning Biden, but they basically have flipped back the calls on Nevada and Arizona. Those tabulations are ongoing. North Carolina is in the president's column, but as absentees and tabulations continue there's a possibility of change of outcome. And Georgia continues to be in the president's column with the lead shrinking as more ballots are counted in Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, and Gwinnett counties. And the net is the path for the president to 270. The doors are closing. He would need to pick up a majority of the states that are outlying. The vice president really only needs 2 more states, and he's over the top. So the path looks much better for Joe Biden. I do think Donald Trump will hang on by the barest of margins here in Georgia because even in Fulton County, where he was being beaten 3-1, the number of votes left don't measure up to 80,000 votes, which is the gap that's left between the vice president and the president. So I expect the margin will narrow considerably and may force the Purdue-Ossoff race into a runoff, but that Donald Trump will still hang on to Georgia's electoral college delegates.
WSB political analyst Bill Crane joining us on the Mark Arum Show. Pennsylvania, the president has tweeted multiple times about Pennsylvania today. We are winning Pennsylvania big, but the PA Secretary of State just announced there are millions of ballots left to be counted. Where do we stand in Penn's Woods currently?
Well, as I've kidded a few times today with some degree of seriousness, I think they're still voting in Philadelphia today. So Pennsylvania has a history in close elections of being not only a battleground, but having problematic tabulation. So the president's campaign is actually suing to stop counting in Pennsylvania and several other states. I do go ahead and forecast that whatever the outcome, this is going to be a very litigious mess on the back end, much worse than we experienced in Florida in the 2000 election. Not that it'll change the outcome, but a lot of lawyers are going to make a lot of money suing various states over their tabulation, accuracy of absentee ballot counts, recounts. And in Wisconsin, where there is a less than 1% vote threshold automatic, the president's campaign has gone ahead and triggered and requested a recount of the balloting in Wisconsin.
President Trump has declared victory. Just a little while ago, he heard Vice President Biden not declare victory, but confident that they will become victorious. There's definitely a distinction between what the two candidates said. The machinations of how this plays out going forward. Let's do a little hypothetical game. Let's say Joe Biden gets to 270 and the president doesn't concede, and there's lawsuits. What can we expect going forward in that scenario?
Well, once the Electoral College meets and declares on December the 12th, and we'll know before then, their word is final. But Al Gore did not concede in 2000 after multiple recounts and the Supreme Court weighing in. I was there for that inauguration, and that was a pretty chilly handoff in the White House and on the stage, and George Bush had to walk past Al Gore and tip her to get to the podium and be sworn in, and we survived. There will be a peaceful transition of power. This president has a lot of weaknesses and some strengths, but he will not bunker in at the White House and expect the Pentagon to keep him in office. If he loses this election, it'll probably be a painful month or two for him as well as the people around him in the White House, and I expect he won't be much help in the 2 Senate runoffs we may have here in Georgia, but he'll give up the office and move on. There doesn't appear to be anything that we can point to right now legitimately and call outright fraud, but it does make one nervous the longer these windows go. North Carolina will accept ballots postmarked to Election Day as late as the 13th of November. And that window in close election states does create both opportunity and some degree of interest in fraud.
WSB political analyst Bill Crane on the Mark Arum Show. Have we heard from Republican leadership, whether McCarthy, McConnell, because I know McConnell's been on the record earlier, said there will be a peaceful transfer of power. Have we heard from them, aside from McConnell's own race, about what's going on with the presidential race?
I think there's a general, I won't say peace, but the blue wave did not occur. The tsunami did not sweep out members in large numbers of the Senate. There was actually a net pickup by Republicans of 4 members in the House at this point, perhaps more based on some races that still haven't been called.
WSB political analyst Bill Crane, I'm sorry, we had to interrupt for traffic. The Republican reaction on Capitol Hill to what has transpired so far.
Because tabulation is going on in so many states, most of the Republican leadership of both chambers have been pretty quiet. They will have a little victory lap and dance as it's finally declared that they've maintained the Senate. And, of course, they are excited about the House seats they've picked up. There's still several governor's races that are also being tabulated. So Mitch McConnell and the leadership are not weighing in at this point, though I think they'll be generally supportive of some of the litigation. It's not their battle to fight.
It's not over yet. Again, this is not over yet, no matter who anyone says on what side of the aisle. There are Democrats crowing that this is in the bag. It's not the case. Biden is at 253 right now. He has not hit 270. There is a path for Donald Trump to get a second term. The path to that electoral win is how, Bill? How does he navigate to get to 270 right now?
If he hangs on to Georgia, North Carolina, picks up Pennsylvania, he really only needs 2 more states. So if Wisconsin, which is in recount, Nevada or Arizona were to break his way, any of those states in a cluster, he gets to 270.
All right. So we heard from Scott Walker, from
the former governor of Wisconsin,
saying even if there is a recount, it's not likely to make up that 20,000 vote margin, right? I mean, that.
I've been a part here in Georgia of 2 different statewide recounts where the margin was only 2,500 votes.
Okay.
300-400 moved.
Gotcha.
So this is new technology, and we are having some issues with the scanners, but typically you don't have, it's less than a scintilla of a fraction of 1% change in a recount, and so typically recounts don't change results.
Let's say that the president holds Georgia, the president holds North Carolina, the president holds Pennsylvania. Is that enough?
No, that is not enough. He would still need Arizona, Nevada, or Wisconsin.
One of those 3, not all of the 3.
Well, Nevada's only 3 votes, so he would basically need Wisconsin or Arizona.
Or Arizona.
2 of those 3 to win.
What do we know about Arizona?
Arizona was called earlier for the Biden campaign, but Maricopa County, which is the largest county, apparently had several lock boxes that hadn't been tabulated yet and some Trump area strongholds. And so that late tabulation that's going on in Arizona is bringing quite a few. It's closing the margin up in favor of the president. Doesn't look like it's enough votes to change the outcome, but the gap has been closing in the president's favor.
The current makeup of the Supreme Court, does that favor the president in any legal motions going forward that might get to the highest court of the land regarding this election?
I don't think there's a path for the Supreme Court to immediately get engaged in stopping tabulation, and we don't have, as we did almost 3 weeks after the election of 2000, a disputed count. We had there was 3 different counties kept recounting their own tabulations, and the margin kept narrowing. And on the 3rd recount, the Republicans were trying to stop any further recounts and go with the results of the 2nd recount, which is what the Supreme Court weighed in favor of. There's not a question in front of the Supreme Court. To get them to intercede, they have to be ruling on something. So just saying lack of transparency or I don't like this result, I don't think gets you to the Supreme Court, even with a 6-vote majority on the Republican court.
A lot of the President Trump supporters that I've been seeing in person and on social media today aghast at the number of mail-in votes that have been counted after the polls closed, et cetera, et cetera. But in some instances, that was because of the legislator, right? The legislature of the certain states that wouldn't allow the absentee ballots to be counted until the polls closed. So Florida, for example.
Yeah, two things that I can't say enough because people don't believe me. They think elections are federally regulated. They are not.
Mm-hmm.
States regulate and set laws in place for the elections in their states, and then each state's counties run those elections. So, and the rules vary rather considerably on things like absentee ballot access, tabulation times. We, because of the pandemic, by emergency rule of the state election board, allowed counties to start opening and scanning October the 22nd. So for 2 weeks, they've been doing that. Many other states couldn't do that until Election Day or couldn't do that until after the polls close. And all those variables contribute to this mess we're in now of tabulation.
Bill Crane, do you mind hanging out one more segment?
I can hang till 6:30.
You know what? I'll get you out of here at 6:29.
Okay, all right.
Is that all right? I want to ask you about the local elections here. WSB political analyst Bill Crane in studio, live on the Mark Arum Show. We got a supersized edition with you till 9, second day of election 2020. On Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. Hang tight. We'll be right back. This is the Mark Arum Show. Election Night Part 2 coverage continues on the Mark Arum Show with you till 9 in the p.m. WSB political analyst Bill Crane. We got you for another minute before we got to get you upstairs, Bill. Locally, we've got the runoff we know with the Reverend and Kelly Loeffler. That is set. What do we know in the Purdue-Ossoff race right now?
I don't entirely understand how they can have a different number of ballots that need to be tabulated in the Senate race and the White House race, but they're saying 200,000 votes are still to be tabulated in the Senate race. That's a significant margin given where they are with an only 26,000 vote spread between a majority and not a majority for David Perdue. So if that number of 200,000 votes left to be tabulated is accurate, I would say that race is probably headed for a runoff as well.
From what I've seen in the numbers, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ossoff underperforming Joe Biden?
Correct.
Yeah.
And David Perdue in many places overperforming the president. But the margins in these counties that are left, that appears to be tightening up. And where Hillary did well 4 years ago, the vice president and John Ossoff are killing it, and Cobb, DeKalb, Clayton, Gwinnett, et cetera.
I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. We're going to see one runoff or two runoffs here in Georgia?
Two.
Wow. Bill Crane on the record. Where's my bell, Longoria? There's my bell. Bill, always a pleasure. Thanks. Great job last night, by the way, too, with the whole game. That was very entertaining and informative.
Always a pleasure to be part of this team.
All right, we'll have Low T Chuck escort you up to the to Studio A on Channel 2. When we come back, Greg Bluestein from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. More in-depth coverage of Election 2020 next on the Mark Arum Show, 95.5 WSB.
This is Josh Wolf, and even though he's a New York Giants fan, go ahead and listen to the Mark Arum Show.
That's usually how I feel as a New York Giants fan. 6:39, 21 in front of 7. Mark Arum and the Bananas with you till 9 in the p.m. tonight as we continue our Day 2 coverage of Election 2020 here on your election headquarters, 95.5 WSB Atlanta's News and Talk. If you're just joining us, there has been no winner declared in the presidential election, despite what President Trump said, despite what Vice President Biden said, that he thinks they're on the track to victory. There is no victory yet, but when there is, you'll hear about it first right here on 95.5 WSB Atlanta's News and Talk. Votes still being counted across our great land, covering the vote counting locally and nationally from the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. Longtime friend of the show, Greg Bluestein. Greg, did you get any sleep last night, brother?
No, of course not. And probably won't tonight either.
So luckily, I was so thankful that I wasn't part of the coverage last night. I really was, because I just wanted to go home. I went home and turned on the TV, listened to the radio, just so I could see the numbers on the TV screen and listen to the coverage here on the radio. I was in bed by 9 and probably asleep by midnight. But you guys were doing an amazing job. Where do we stand right now in the presidential race locally? We'll start locally, Greg, because I know they're still counting ballots here.
Yeah, locally it's getting really close. I mean, President Trump had a pretty big advantage, probably around the same time you went to bed last night. And by the time you woke up, it was starting to narrow. And right now he is just about under 50% in Georgia. Biden is within about 55,000 or so votes of President Trump, and we still have more than 150 or so thousand absentee ballots that are slowly but surely coming in. Democrats are pretty jubilant. They're pretty optimistic. There's no telling, of course, how this will go, but Biden has been winning a majority, really 70% of some of these batches of absentee ballots that are coming from Metro Atlanta, Democratic-leaning Metro Atlanta counties. So Democrats are pretty optimistic right now.
Doing the quick math, so of the 150,000 outstanding ballots, Vice President Biden is trailing by 50,000, 2-1 on the return in his favor, gets him tied. Am I doing the math right? What's going on with the math there?
Yeah, and it's hard to completely, because some of the returns are coming from, very conservative county, like Forsyth County still has some absentee ballots up. And even if they're coming from Democratic counties, they might be coming from a Republican precinct in a Democratic county, right? So it's hard to completely project. But I will say that the Democratic operatives I've been keeping in touch with kind of all for the last 48 hours nonstop are pretty optimistic right now. That they basically said they would not want to switch places with President Trump right now.
Greg Bluestein from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on the Mark Arum Show. We heard from the Secretary of State earlier today here on WSB Radio. Has Fulton County got their ish together, Greg? Are we good in Fulton County now?
No.
Short answer, no.
They're trying their hardest. Bless their hearts. But we expect they're going to be working from 9 to midnight to try to validate some of these absentee ballots that had some issues. So we expect maybe a final tally from them, hopefully by midnight tonight. But these are prone to delays, especially when it comes to Fulton County, which has been kind of Atlanta's problem child for voting issues for years, and usually it doesn't really matter as much, or it might matter only in local races, but not federal races, or certainly not presidential races. But as Georgia becomes more competitive, Fulton County becomes more scrutinized.
Georgia, a must-win for the path for President Trump to get a second term in the White House. When folks tune in to Atlanta's Morning News tomorrow morning with Scott Slade, will we know where Georgia stands with the presidential race?
I kind of beginning to think so.
Okay.
At first, I was a little skeptical of that, but I'm beginning to think so. We might even have an overall race call as Joe Biden is flipping, according to at least the Associated Press, Wisconsin and Michigan, and competing in Arizona, likely to take Arizona too, depending on what call you look at. So he's about one state away right now from an outright victory.
Locally, the biggest shock for me yesterday, Greg, was Reverend Warnoff not breaking the 30% mark in the vote totals in the Senate race. That was surprising to me.
It was to me, too, because he was at high 30s, low 40s, even mid-40s in some polls. He really benefited from kind of a free pass from Republicans who are more focused on each other than him. And then none of his Democratic rivals had any money, had any sort of campaign apparatus to really compete with him. And remember all the hand-wringing over Matt Lieberman, the son of former Senator Joe Lieberman, and how he was going to take votes away from Warnock. Well, he barely took 2 or 3 percentage points away. Instead, it was former Lithuanian Mayor Deborah Jackson who got more than 300,000 votes and, won about 6 or 7 percentage points. Not enough to threaten him, but she ended up kind of being the big surprise winner of the night.
Now, we're going to be on the air here live all night. So I'm on till 9, and then Word on the Street takes over 9 to midnight. If anything pops, because I'm watching like so many different news sources right now, can I buzz you back if we get anything new and just pick your brain on something?
You got it.
All right. I don't want to deprive you and your family of sleep because I know you need your rest, Greg. But who am I kidding? You're not going to bed anytime soon.
Nope, I'm not.
You'll be up all night. Greg Bluestein from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on Twitter. He is a must-follow. I remember when this kid had 500 followers. Now he's got like 9 million. At Bluestein on Twitter. Always a pleasure, Greg. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Ron.
All right, we'll come back. Chuck, let's do it. Let's open up. I know. What are you shaking your head? Let's open up the phones. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB-TALK on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. What do you know? It's the Mark Arum Show. We have no winner yet declared in Georgia or in the presidential race nationwide, and tensions are high on both sides. So let's handle this responsibly like adults Everyone be calm. Don't yell at Chuck when you call in, right, Chuck?
Oh, you can't. I'll just hang up.
Yeah, but he'll hang up on you. You won't get on the air.
So-
But let's, we can have adult conversations here. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Martha kicks us off on the program. How are you, Martha?
I am well. How are you?
I'm a little sleepy, but I'm hanging in.
Oh, good. I'm confused. I thought all absentee ballots were due on the 3rd, and yet Bluestein's saying they're still coming in. So why would they be counted if they're late?
Still coming into the counting area, not coming in from the mail. Like they get delivered to the post office and they're brought to the, I don't know, what do you call that, Chuck? Where they count the ballots?
Counting precinct.
The counting precinct, yeah. So if no ballots, as far as I'm concerned, in the state of Georgia, they had to be in by Election Day. Now, other states like North Carolina, as long as they're postmarked by Election Day, they're going to count them like 7 days later, and I think Pennsylvania is the same way. But here in Georgia, I believe it had to be received by Election Day. That's why we were telling people if you haven't mailed your ballot a week out, you got to hand deliver it. Don't risk mailing it.
And I was also curious why DeKalb and Fulton were open on Saturday and Sunday when the rest of the counties were closed, why they allowed voting to take place after all the advance voting had stopped, and then
I believe it was
DeKalb and
because
Fulton stayed open.
the storms prevented folks from voting in a couple of counties. The bad weather we had last
There were
week.
some power outages at them, and so they extended the voting.
So they extended the vote. I think that was up to each.
We had it all over. We had it worse in North Georgia.
But I think it's up to each. It was up to each county to do that. Like the county had the option if they had power outages, et cetera. But those are some fantastic questions, Martha. Thank you. James is in Dallas. James, welcome to the Mark Arum Show.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
What up, brother?
It's an honor to talk to you. I listen every day. I feel like I know you guys.
I appreciate it, buddy.
I don't want to say too much. I mean, this whole thing's kind of gotten crazy, if you ask me. All
right, I can't let you people just throw random. I appreciate the call, buddy, but I can't let anyone just throw random websites out without verifying them. What we're gonna do when we come back? Don't worry about playing that thing, Longoria, because I'm gonna tell folks right now. We're obviously still monitoring what's going on here in Georgia and around the country, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona. If there's any update on what's going on with the vote totals, we'll bring them to you live. But we do want to have a little fun. Deborah Green has crafted a presidential edition of Millennial Match Game. So, Chuck, this will be easy. 2 contestants for Millennial Match Game right now. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB Talk if you want to play the presidential edition of Millennial Match Game. Getting word from CNN that Fulton County, Georgia officials are going to hold a news conference shortly. When that happens, we'll take it live. News, weather, and traffic next. It's the Mark Arum Show on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
No, I want this town to be near you. I stand alone. I stand alone.
Welcome back to the show to go to Wednesday Eve to you. Mark Arum here, you there at 7:07, 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is the Mark Arum Show, normally heard Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 95.5 WSB. Because of our extended election coverage, we're with you for an extra hour tonight till 9 p.m. The whole gang here. Deborah Green produces the show. Longoria, the stoic Eskimo on the other side of the takeout window. After a week of slacking, Low T Chuck screens them calls. Johnny Kielbasa will join us in the last hour of the Fast Food Review. I am monitoring multiple monitors here. When that Fulton County elections press conference starts, we'll bring it to you live. Obviously, big local news here. We'll continue to provide you with complete election coverage. Right now, if you're just joining us, Joe Biden has 253 electoral votes. President Trump has 213. Still a number of states in flux. They're counting votes, not only here in Georgia, but Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, all over the country. So we will completely cover all of the countings and the races and everything you need to know. So just keep it locked right here on for your election headquarters, 95.5 WSB. That being said, we do want to have a little fun. What do we do to have fun on Wednesdays, Longoria?
Let's play Millennial Match Game.
Joining us live, did we call her? She called in?
Did we not call her?
No, Chuck, did you not call our match game contestant? Oh, we'll get her on in a second. Let's meet our contestants on the phone. Tanner is in Vinings. Tanner, welcome to the show. Tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself.
What's up? I live in Vinings, Georgia, and I do customs services for a freight forwarding company.
That sounds like an interesting profession. How old are you, Tanner?
I am 25.
25 years young. So you are a millennial. This could give you an advantage in Millennial Match Game today. Is he a Gen Zer?
I think he might be Gen Z.
He's a cusper.
No, I'm actually a millennial because supposedly Gen Z cuts off at like 97, 98, somewhere. I was born in 95. Not sure if that's accurate.
All right, fair enough. Our other contestant just dropped off the line, Chuck, so we need one more contestant to play Millennial Match Game. Call 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK, and in the meantime, it's just me and Tanner hanging out. Oh, Jennifer Griffiths is running into the newsroom, into the news booth, so I think we're going to have to pause Millennial Match Game. Jennifer, are you taking this live now? Yes, she is. Okay, so we're going to pause it anyway. So, Tanner, hang on the line. Chuck, don't screen any more calls. We are waiting for the Fulton County press conference. It's not happening yet. Okay, not happening yet. Okay, all right. Let's go live to CNN, Atlanta, Georgia coverage.
If we have a ballot with a contest on it in which there's some question as to how the computer reads it, so the vote review panel then determines voter intent.
This is Richard Barrett, Fulton County Elections Director.
Every ballot is counted, and we expect to be here. We're bringing in some more fresh people because we've had people here all day. We expect this to go probably until midnight or more.
How many absentee ballots were cast in Fulton County in all for this election?
We're probably close. We have somewhere near 142,000 that will be at the end of the process. We've scanned 113,130 as of moments ago. We've adjudicated 106,000 plus of those. The 106,000, those have already been published on the website. We're going to run more frequent batch updates over to English Street so we can get the vote review panel to update those, to go through those and adjudicate those so we can get more updates throughout the night.
This is Richard Barrett, Fulton County Elections Director, holding a press conference on 95.5 WSB.
116.
Essentially right now we've got 5 scanners, and because we only have 5 openers too, so we can't, even if we brought in more scanners, it's not going to help at this point. What we would need is more space, and if we need more space, I would have to ask everyone here to leave so that we can get more tables in here. We're going to do we're going to finish tonight. Yeah. As long as it takes, we're going to be here. That's why we're bringing in fresh bodies. The what? Well, we'll end up getting to the total, which is above 142,000. We've already scanned in 113,130. What takes the most time is getting them off, because the cutters and extractors, it has to cut through 2 envelopes. So you run through it twice, and then it goes over to the flatteners. And that is a manual process over there. Well, right now we're up to 106,000 on the, up from 74,000 yesterday. We're up to 106,000 on our way to, it'll be somewhere near in the neighborhood of 142,000. So. Can I what? Okay. No. Well, no, but you can't publish a batch until that batch goes through adjudication. Because what it does, any ballots in there that are flagged to be adjudicated by the vote review panel, those have to be dealt with before you can publish that batch. So the vote review panel will go through and they'll see any contest that's on a ballot that has some question as to the way it was marked. The vote review panel then decides voter intent. We don't. None of the ballots get rejected. All that happens is if you make a determination on a contest on a ballot whether the voter intended to vote for this person or this person. So there aren't any rejections. If a ballot is rejected, it's done before you get to this process for either missing signature or signature mismatch. So once it goes through the scanner, it's going to count the ballot. It's just that there may be a question on one race or contest on that ballot. Well, it's mostly the space. I mean, we don't have at this point, we might bring in some more tables and just get some letter openers and try to start opening by hand to supplement what we have with those.
This is Richard Barron, Fulton County Elections Director, live on WSB Radio, talking about the election process, the counting of absentee and mail-in ballots in Fulton County.
Yeah, sometime. It'll be after midnight by the time we get them through adjudication.
Are there any other votes that were cast in this election, whether in person or in any other way, that are still left to be counted?
Well, yeah, any UOCAVA ballots, the military overseas, they have until Friday to come in, and then any provisional ballots.
Do you know about how many there are that will be counted?
I don't know how many.
All right, so we'll continue to monitor that briefing in Fulton County. That's Atlanta, Georgia, the largest county in Georgia right now. I think he said that they've already received 142 absentee ballots. They've reviewed about 106,000 of them, so they're going to release maybe 36,000 more.
All right, that's Wolf Blitzer butchering the numbers there. Let me correct him. 142,000 absentee ballots. They've processed 113,130, and then 106,000 have been through the chute are already tabulated into the account. So by my math, Charles Thomas from the Revenant.com, that leaves 32,000 outstanding ballots to be counted into the tally yet here in Fulton County. Again, this is just Fulton County. This is not citywide. As of right now, 72% of the vote in Fulton County is going to Joe Biden. 26.8% is going to President Donald Trump. Right now, President Trump still holds a lead in Georgia, but those numbers could change. What I did like, what I heard there from the Fulton County elections director was they're going to bang this out and should be done by midnight. I believe I heard that correctly.
He said midnight or later.
Yeah, midnight or later. So it sounds like Fulton County is going to get that stuff done tonight, which is very, very promising. Right now, in the state of Georgia, let me stand up. 24,000. I just missed the number on CNN. 2,400,000 votes for President Trump, I believe, and I'll get the number when it scrolls back again. So, but that's some good news. And what we missed there, because you couldn't hear the press conference that they were asking the questions. When there's a ballot that, let's just say, Randy at the digital desk and Alex Williams are looking at ballots, right? And Alex Williams says about, and he's like, I can't tell what's going on here. They call the 4 adjudicators, and those are people that are in the polling areas right now. There's 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and 2 independents that will then review the ballot. Like Alex Williams is like, I can't tell if this person voted for Biden or Joe Jorgensen, right? I need help on this. They call the adjudicators over, and they look at it, and then they vote. Like, what do we think? And a majority of the time it's unanimous, whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. If there's a split, if it's 2-2, whatever, then they call over the polling director to settle any ties. But that apparently that is very rare. Usually, if there's a problem with a ballot, it's taken care of by the adjudicators. Again, 2 independents, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. So there are people there. I know because a lot of people worry, like, who's counting these ballots? But there are like legitimate people watching this go on, right? So that puts my mind at ease a little bit, Chuck. The fact that there's 4 people to review any ballot that might be in question. There's 4 people to check it out.
Well, I got nothing. That was one of the most brilliant explanations you've ever come up with.
How about that?
I had nothing to add to that. I was waiting for you to
trying to get
slip
star
up.
of the show.
I'm gonna pull a Costanza. Leave on.
Yeah, usually we should
Thank
get
you.
on
Good
break.
night.
Leave out
Let's
on
go
high
to
note.
break.
That was great.
All right. When we come back, I'm gonna reset. We're expecting new vote totals tonight in Georgia. That's great news. So we'll get all the Fulton counties done midnight or later, and we're waiting for some in Arizona. We'll reset. We're going to move Millennial Match Game to 7:35, Chuck. If you can tell the contestants if they want to hang on, call back, whatever. We'll come back. We'll reset what we know right now about Election 2020. It's the Mark Arum Show on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Mark Arum on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right, welcome back to the supersized edition of the Mark Arum Show with you till 9 p.m. Very latest from Jamie Dupree. All right, we've got an updated vote count here in the state of Georgia. President Donald J. Trump, 2,416,281 votes. That is 49.86% of the votes. Joe Biden, the former vice president, 2,371,034 votes. That is 48.92%. Joe Jorgensen with 1.2%, 59,000 votes. So the lead is narrowing. It is down to 45,000 votes here in Georgia. And according to the Fulton County Commissioner, the elections director, there are still about 30,000 votes or so to be counted just in Fulton County. Now, we still have outstanding ballots in DeKalb, Gwinnett, Forsyth, and Dougherty County. Am I saying that? I don't know. But the lead is down to 45,000 votes, which is, I mean, it's shocking because as Bill Crane said last night at 10 o'clock, you saw these massive leads by the president in Georgia and Pennsylvania and Michigan, Wisconsin. It was like, oh, this is, it's a wrap. And what's funny is I was watching the betting markets because, like, that's a thing. People bet on this. And for the last, month, Joe Biden was odds-on favorite to win the election. And then when Florida got called, it flipped. And Donald Trump became the favorite. And people were betting heavy. And then it flipped again this morning or late last night back to a Biden. So, like, I know a professional gambler. And he made money on both ends. Like, he will be fine no matter what happens because he took Trump as the underdog, Biden as the underdog. Like, he just worked the market. I'm glad I don't bet. That's too much math for me. But there we go. That's the very latest in the Georgia presidential race. In the Georgia Senate race, David Perdue still over that 50% mark, 50.28%. John Ossoff, 47.42%. Shane Hazel has 2.3%. The vote is 140,000. I hate doing math. 100. I think David Perdue's up by 140,000 votes. So David Perdue overperforming President Trump. John Ossoff underperforming Vice President Biden. But it's getting closer to that, under that 50% number for Senator Perdue, where we might have two runoffs in Georgia. Just rain those political ads on me. Just let me shower in them. We're going to have a golden shower of political ads on the Mark Arum Show.
Wow.
Just, because it's like,
sure. Like coins.
Yeah, coins. Because they're
coins.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to continue to monitor the situation. Sorry about that. We're going to get right back to Millennial Match Game. Tanner and Corey hang out. We're going to have some fun and give you political updates. That's what we do on the Mark Arum Show. On to Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. Back after news, weather, and traffic.
Hi, everybody. This is Zoe Saldana, and you're listening to The Mark Arum Show.
7:36, 24 in front of 8 o'clock. Mark Arum and the Bananas with you till 9 in the p.m. tonight. And then 9 to midnight, word on the street with Shelley Winter and Milani Kai. Maybe we can get Shelley in here in the last hour, and we can pick his brain about election 2020. Day 2 coverage continues here. We're going to continue to provide you with the very latest on the campaign. As of right now, the Trump campaign has filed lawsuits in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and here in Georgia to get people to stop counting the votes. The electoral map shows Joe Biden with 253 and President Trump with 213. Still a number of states in flux, including ours here in Georgia. 36,000. I did the math during the break. 36,000 votes still to be counted in Fulton County. I'm not sure about statewide, but I am sure we are now ready to play Millennial Match Game.
Let's play Millennial Match Game.
All right, let's meet our contestant. She's a first-time contestant. She's in charge of the digital team at WSB Radio. It's Heather Taylor. Heather, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
So I gave your profession, but I didn't tell much about you. Tell the folks at home a little bit about Heather.
Let's see. I'm from Marietta, and currently I live in the Peachtree City area. My husband and I have a tiny human named Amelia. She's 3. And other than that, I do all the digital things.
What a beautiful name, Amelia. How did you come up with that name for your daughter?
You know, honestly, there's no story behind it. We just liked it. Her name's Amelia Grace.
I like it. Well, Heather, thanks for playing Millennial Match Game. Heather, by the way, is in charge of Randy, who plays Millennial Match Game, Nicole Bennett, who plays Millennial Match Game.
She's also sort of my boss, so let's be nice to
Deborah
her.
Green's boss, so maybe it's an easy category for you tonight. The category tonight, by the way, is candidate or quarterback. Candidate or quarterback. So think about that. A little presidential edition of Millennial Match Game. As always, by the way, brought to you by Rocco's European Garage. All right, we already met Tanner. Corey's our other contestant. Corey, welcome to the show. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
I'm Corey. I'm from originally Douglasville. I live in Canton. Custom carpenter and ball ground.
Oh, can you make bars?
I could if I had the wood.
All right, yellow wood.
I'm a shutter and screen door and glass
shutter and
door
screen.
kind of
Okay,
guy.
excellent. All right, well, good to have you, Corey. And Tanner, we already found out, is 25 years young and might have an advantage in Millennial Match Game. So here's how this is going to work, guys. Candidate versus quarterback. I'm going to say a person's name, and you have to guess whether or not Millennial Heather will know if that person was a presidential candidate or a former NFL quarterback. For example, this one doesn't count. Heather, Al Gore. Al Gore, is that a presidential candidate or an NFL quarterback?
I'm going to have to go with candidate.
Correct. Very simple. It's very simple. One more test for Heather here. Heather, Matt Ryan, NFL quarterback or presidential candidate?
That's going to be a quarterback. Like it or not.
That's it. Very easy. This game is easy. Deborah made it easy because you are her boss. All right, so here it is.
I appreciate it.
Usually I'll say, guys, the millennial doesn't know, but I think Heather's going to know a lot of these. We will start with you, Tanner. Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann. Will millennial Heather know if that's a former NFL quarterback or a former presidential candidate?
I'm going to say that she's going to know what it is.
All right. Heather, Joe Theismann, presidential candidate or NFL quarterback?
So I don't know much about the NFL because I'm a college football fan, and I've never heard that name, so I'm going to say quarterback.
Quarterback. That's right, Joe Theismann. I think he's in the Hall of Fame, Chuck Longoria. Got his leg broken by Lawrence Taylor. That's what he's probably most known for. All right, good job. Corey, here we go. Barry Goldwater. Barry Goldwater. Will millennial Heather know if that's a former NFL quarterback or a former presidential candidate? Barry Goldwater. What do you think?
She will know.
You say yes, Heather will know. Heather, Barry Goldwater, former quarterback or presidential candidate?
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to say candidate.
Presidential candidate, losing presidential candidate, by the way. Barry Goldwater. Good job. Corey gets the point. Corey says thank you, thank you. All right, here we go. Tanner, Rufus King, NFL quarterback or former presidential candidate? Rufus King.
I have no idea who that is, and I'm hoping that she doesn't either, so I'm going to say she gets it wrong.
All right, Heather, Rufus King, NFL quarterback or former presidential candidate?
I feel like the name Rufus isn't really a football player name, so I'm going to say candidate.
That is correct. Rufus King ran with James Monroe in 1860, or lost
to James Monroe.
Lost to James Monroe in 1816. By the way, Goldwater lost to LBJ in 1964. So you're going to get some historical data here on Millennial Match Game, so we'll learn something. All right, it's Corey's turn. Corey, Steve Bartkowski, NFL quarterback or former presidential candidate? Will Heather know? Steve Bartkowski.
She will know that is a former NFL quarterback.
Oh, jeez. All right. Yeah. All right, next one. We'll move along. Dan.
No.
Yeah. It's all right, Corey. It's a lot of pressure here. Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts. Will she know if that's a quarterback or a presidential candidate? Dan Fouts.
Yes, she will know.
Dan Fouts, Heather, NFL quarterback or presidential candidate?
Well, I'm going to go with quarterback.
Man, Heather is crushing this game.
She's on.
She is on. Good job. All right, here we go. Tanner, Millennial Match Game brought to you by Rocco's European Garage. Presidential candidate or quarterback? Sammy Baugh. Sammy Baugh. Will Heather know if that's a quarterback or a presidential candidate? Sammy Baugh.
I was wrong last time, so I'm going to say that she gets it this time.
Sammy Baugh, Heather, quarterback or candidate?
Quarterback?
God, I thought you were going to get that one wrong. I thought for sure, yeah. Sammy Baugh, Hall of Fame quarterback for the Washington Redskins. Another Redskins Hall of Fame quarterback. All right, here we go, Corey. Sid Luckman. Okay. Sid Luckman, president or quarterback? Will Heather know if Sid Luckman was a presidential candidate or a quarterback? Sid Luckman.
She will not know.
All right, Heather, a lot of pressure. He says no. Sid Luckman, is that a quarterback or a presidential candidate?
Candidate.
No. Sid Luckman, former candidate, former quarterback for the Chicago Bears. But Corey said no, right? So he gets a point. All right, end of round one in Millennial Match Game. What is the score, Deborah Green?
Tanner 2, Corey 3.
All right, Corey, you're up. Here we go. Tanner's up. I'm sorry. Tanner, you're up. DeWitt Clinton. Will Heather know if that's a quarterback or a candidate? DeWitt Clinton.
Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to say that she knows it, though.
All right, DeWitt Clinton, Heather. Is that a quarterback or a candidate?
That sounds very political to me, so I'm going to say candidate.
I would have gone quarterback, but you're right. You're 100% right. Ran against James Madison in 1808. Isn't this sad? We have no idea who that is. Like, he came in second.
I'm hoping somebody like Wikipedia's it and you learned something tonight.
Yeah, DeWitt Clinton was indeed a presidential candidate. All right, here we go. Corey.
Okay.
Winfield Scott. Is that a presidential candidate or a quarterback? What do you think? Will Heather know?
She will know.
Oh, very confident. Winfield Scott is the name. Is it a quarterback or a candidate, Heather?
That's got to be a candidate.
You say a candidate, really? Winfield Scott.
Winfield. It's very. I like old school. I'm doing political things.
Final answer.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Dagnabbit. I don't know. That's a quarterback's name to me. Dave Winfield Scott. I don't know.
First thing I thought was political.
Yeah, oh, you guys are better than me. All right, It is Tanner's turn. Tanner, Doug Flutie, quarterback or candidate? Will Heather know?
Oh, gosh. Knock on wood, but it hasn't messed me up yet, so I'm going to say she knows it.
All right, Doug Flutie. Is that a quarterback or a candidate, Heather?
That's a quarterback.
Very good. Very good. Heather's dialed in. Flutie Flakes, former quarterback for the Boston College Eagles, and then he played for the Bills and a bunch of teams. Longoria used to have a Flutie jersey. It is Corey's turn. Corey, Jeff Hostetler, quarterback or candidate?
She will know.
All right, Jeff Hostetler, quarterback or candidate, Heather?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know. I'm going to go with candidate.
No. Jeff Hostetler, former quarterback for the New York Giants, actually won a Super Bowl with them. Phil Simms got injured. Hostetler came in and took him to the Super Bowl. All right, it is Tanner's turn. Tanner, Wendell Wilkie. Will Millennial Heather know if that's a candidate or a quarterback? Wendell Wilkie.
God, that's a trick question, I feel like, but I'm gonna say that she knows it.
All right, Wendell Wilkie, Heather, is that a candidate or a quarterback?
Wendell is doing some law stuff, so he is a candidate.
You're absolutely right. Wendell was doing some law stuff. He lost to Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1940. Wendell Wilkie. All right, quarterback or candidate? Corey's up. Henry Clay, quarterback or candidate? Will Millennial Heather know? Quarterback or candidate? Henry Clay. What do you think?
Surely she'll know this one.
All right, Henry Clay, quarterback or candidate, Heather?
That's a candidate.
Really? How did you know? That could be a football game. I like how Randy would be like, I could see on the back of a jersey. I could see Clay on the back of a jersey. That would count. All right, last round here. It is Tanner's turn. Tanner, Otto Graham, quarterback or candidate? Otto Graham. Will Millennial Heather know? Otto Graham.
Sounds like a transformer. I'm going to have to say she does.
It's a tough one, Heather. Otto Graham, candidate or quarterback? What do you think?
I'm going to go with quarterback.
Yep. Hall of Fame quarterback, Otto Graham for the Cleveland Browns. Good job.
Good job.
Last one here. It is Corey's turn. Corey, Warren Moon. Warren Moon. Will Millennial Heather know if that's a quarterback or a candidate? Warren Moon.
She will know this one.
All right. Heather seems to know a lot. Warren Moon, Heather, quarterback or candidate?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm going with the Randy method, and I'm trying to visualize Moon on the back of a jersey, and I feel like I can't, so I'm going to go with candidate.
Oh! Warren Moon is a quarterback. Amazing quarterback who I partied with New Year's Eve 1999 in the VIP section of Tongue and Groove in Buckhead. There's a little...
Who doesn't know Warren Moon?
There's a Warren Moon...
Hey, listen, if they were UGA players from the years, I would have
Then
been
you would
a
know.
lot better.
Understood.
Okay.
What is
I'll give you that one.
What is the final score, Deborah Green?
Tanner 6, Corey 5.
Oh, what a nail biter. Do we have any prizes to give away? All right, so with no prizes, but Tanner and Corey did awesome. Heather, amazing job. You did really well. Real quick,
Thank you.
Longoria wants to know, as the head of digital for WSB Radio and all our properties, right? All B98. Are you allowed? Can you spy on our emails? Are you allowed to go in and look at Longoria's emails?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Wow, we have an answer. All right, Heather, thanks so much for playing. I really appreciate it, buddy.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This
And
was fun.
you and your team do an amazing job. The digital team here is really top notch. I mean, best in the country. Best in Buckhead. Best in Midtown. This is the best digital team for a radio station in Midtown Atlanta, is the one at WSB Radio. All right, we're going to come back. We'll continue our political coverage. I'll give you a election update, vote count, an electoral map count, and we'll take your calls. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. This is the Mark Arum Show on 95.5 WSB.
Mark Arum on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right, we're expecting new vote totals in Arizona and Georgia tonight. I don't know what's going on in Vegas. And North Carolina said, hey, it's going to be a while. I guess North Carolina rules, correct me if I'm wrong, Charles Thomas from The Revenant, as long as the ballot was postmarked by Election Day, it's like a week.
Yeah,
I think that state
they give
rules.
a little time for mail.
Yeah, I'm 100, not 100%, but I think that's President Trump's. North Carolina is going to President Trump.
It seems to, but
because we don't know how many outstanding ballots. I mean, that has to be ballots that were postmarked and haven't been received yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're still in the mail.
So I think he's got a sizable lead there. But here in Georgia, we don't know. It's down. Let me get the very latest election results here in Georgia. President Trump currently has 2,420,000 votes. Joe Biden has 2,375,000 and change votes. So it's narrowing, but will there be enough votes to flip it? David's in Tucker. David, welcome to the show.
Hey, North Carolina, it's 9 days if it was postmarked by the vote deadline.
So we won't know for sure for a while then out of North Carolina.
Not for absolutely certain, but I mean, how many are going to be delayed that long? I actually cast more of an anti-Biden vote than a pro-Trump vote, but at the time they were projecting the Democrats would take the Senate, and I prefer a divided government because even if the Republicans or Democrats have both houses in the presidency, legislation just like flies through and you go, what was that? And it's already law, and no one's gotten a chance to get any feedback on it. So
I'm with you. It's good to have checks and balances, and that's we haven't really talked about that yet. The fact that the Democrats lost seats in Congress, that no one saw coming. Even the most optimistic Republican was like, "No, we're gonna lose seats, and the Senate is going to be held at the worst. It's going to be 50-50 or 50 to 40." 51 to 49 right now, right? That'll be the worst. So, but then you got Susan Collins. You don't know what's going on to her. But the Democrats needed 50, and if they had the White House, they'd have the tiebreaker. But it looks like the Democrats barely hold on to Congress, and the Republicans will hold on to the Senate. So you'll have that checks and balance, David, no matter who's in the White House.
Yeah, well, it's always good to be at the end of an election and not be irate or depressed.
And everyone needs to take a deep breath, too. That's good advice. Don't be irate. Don't be depressed. Let this situation play out. We are still counting ballots here in Georgia, here in Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona. Let's just see what happens. Everyone relax. As Longoria would say, take a chill pill. I'm going to take an Imodium. during news, weather, and traffic. Then we'll come back with more of your calls. 404-872-0750, an extra hour of the Mark Arum Show.
Hi, this is Louis Gossett Jr. This is the Mark Arum Show. And if you have any common sense, you should listen to the Mark Arum Show.
No, I'll run this town to be near you.
Welcome back. Bonus hour of the Mark Arum Show with you till 9. Then word on the street. We'll continue our election coverage till midnight. Longoria, can I go to CNN real quick? They're talking about the Georgia vote right now. We're expecting more vote totals. This is John King on CNN.
It's counted. But let's be fair to the president. There's some ballots for him out there, too, in these smaller red. That's why we need to count them all. And then you come over here, Chatham County along the coast. There's been some arguing between the state Republican Party, the Trump campaign, and the counters here, the county here about the count. We'll watch that play out. But if you look here right now, again, 57% for Joe Biden to 41%, 87%. So you have more ballots to be counted here as well. Joe Biden needs to do better, statewide needs to do better than that 58%. But remember, that's the full count of everything counted so far. We do know in the mail-in ballot so far, his rate of return has been higher than that. So that's just why, look how close this state is. 49.9 to 48.9. There's a history here going back to the governor's race. Stacey Abrams lost. Brian Kemp won that race. A lot of anxiety with Democrats thinking that the votes weren't counted properly, that the system, that not enough attention was paid to the integrity of the system. Well, guess what? Everybody's watching now. We'll watch this play out. 49.9, 48.9, 45,000. Remember, Wolf, in the early morning hours, that lead was 6 digits. It was way higher than that. And so it's shrinking down now, which is why you count them to the very end.
We got another key race alert. Speaking about shrinking down, look at Pennsylvania. Right now, Donald Trump's lead over Joe Biden has gone down to some 200,000 now. It was 600,000.
All right, that's Wolf Blitzer and John King on CNN. I saw they were talking about Georgia. 45,000 vote lead. Now it's just a matter of mathematics. Are there enough ballots out that have not been counted that Joe Biden can secure to overpass Donald Trump? Even if he does, and I don't know if he's going to or not, that's going to be in a recount territory, right? If he wins, it's going to be a squeaker. It's going to be like 6 votes. 5, because Rustin Gainesville voted for President Trump. So it'll be like a 5-vote victory. If he can do it, I'm not sure he can. I still think that President Trump wins the state of Georgia. I'm curious to see if we're going to have 1 or 2 runoffs, though, in the Senate seat right now. David Perdue has 50.27% of the vote. John Ossa, 47.43. If that goes below 50%, we'll have not 1 but 2 runoffs here in the state of Georgia. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. We're still trying to digest it all that's going on. I want to know, because I haven't talked to the Bananas about this. We'll start with Low T. Chuck. What did you do last night for the election? Were you at home? What was?
Yeah, I was at home in my office.
And how did you? Oh, in the Stone home.
Yeah.
So how did you spend the evening?
Oh, eating pizza and drinking beer.
Nice. So a typical Tuesday at Low T's home.
Not much different than any other day.
Or did you stay up late at night?
Yeah, I stayed up till probably 2:30, I think.
Oh, wow.
I finally went to bed.
Yeah.
Because I kept, these races were so close so quickly that I thought, okay, well, another hour or so, they're going to, and another hour and another hour. And I was like, I got to get to bed.
Yeah.
So, and not honestly, by the time I went, Trump's lead started slipping. So when I got up in the morning, not much had changed.
Yeah. I went to bed at, I was in bed at 9. And it's funny because Maya was like, turn off Fox, turn off CNN. Like, we're going to watch our show now. So we have this new HBO show. Have you seen it? It's like 2 episodes in. I can't think of the name of it, but the redhead that used to be married to Tom Cruise.
How did we know we saw it or not?
Oh, the one with Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is
I've
very
watched
good.
those episodes too.
So she's like dying to watch this, and I'm like, so I've got my phone up with the Xfinity app where I can watch, CNN or Fox News or ABC, whatever. So I'm just looking. I'm listening to the show that we're watching, The Undoing. It's pretty intense. But I'm looking at like the graphics on my phone, like, oh, what's going on? And then finally at like 11:30, she was already asleep, and I was like, well, it's President Trump's. I can't see any path to for Vice President Biden to win this, knowing full well there's going to be a lot of mail-in votes. I just saw these big vote totals. Once Florida went, and it looked to me like Ohio was done, I was like, all right, even if he wins this, and I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. And it turned out there was, and that's why I get why Republicans are kind of freaking out, right? Because a lot of them went to bed when I did. And was like, oh, this is in the bag. The president's got it in the bag. So that was my evening, watching on my phone while watching this intense melodrama show on HBO.
Melodrama.
Longoria, you were here till midnight riding the board during our coverage. How did that go, by the way?
It was good. It went good. It went really good.
I listened to some of it, but again, I was trying to watch the HBO show. Any takeaways from the coverage last night?
I was tired. That was one takeaway.
Number one takeaway?
Yeah, number one takeaway.
You got home, you were off at midnight. What time did you get home and get to bed?
1 o'clock. Probably got to bed about 1:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woke the girls up?
No, I tried not to.
Gave them a cup of coffee?
Yeah. Wake up.
Said,
Wake your mom up.
Deborah Green, the executive producer of the show. What was your election night like?
We watched like an hour of it, and then my husband got angry, and so we started watching other movies too.
Okay.
Yeah, he made this big deal about becoming an American citizen so he could vote, and then he didn't get registered in time.
Oh no!
So he gets angry when we watch. So he's like, nah.
So if Biden or Trump loses by one vote, it's your husband's.
Yeah, it's his fault.
He procrastinated.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were watching the coverage last night. An estimated 56.9 million people tuned in to watch coverage of the presidential election during prime time on November 3rd. The coverage varied by network. 21 networks aired live coverage from 8 to 11 p.m. That's when that 59 million were watching. Fox News was the clear leader, drawing 13.6 million viewers in prime time, 10.5 million viewers, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. as the common cable news coverage there. So number one, it was ranked number one with adults, edging CNN. That's 25 to 54. But just a small margin. CNN, to his credit, was number two for the network with election coverage, beating rival MSNBC and all the broadcast networks, both in total viewers and among adults 25-54. I did, full disclosure, I don't think I've ever watched MSNBC. I don't even know what's going on there. I flip back between CNN and Fox.
That's what we were doing.
But what sucks is they go to commercial pretty much at the same time all the time.
Yeah, but then if you slip one of the network, like we were watching ABC as well with George Stephanopoulos.
So you have a third option.
I have a third option because you're right. That's what happens to me is they go to break, and then I flip over and there's all right. Yeah. So I have to have a third option to keep up with everything.
There you go. Do you want really to Mark? Hang on the phone. I'll punch you on for a second, Mark. But I'm gonna let you talk in a second. Do you know what made me the maddest last night during the coverage?
I don't know.
So this is like the biggest election of our lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm a big baseball fan, right? Major League Baseball decides, all right, on election night, we're going to announce our Gold Glove winners. Like when no one in the world cares about that. Like Max Fried of the Braves won a Gold Glove. Like that's huge news. And I'm like, Major League Baseball can't get out of their own way.
They are the worst.
Absolute worst. Like everyone in the world knows November 3rd, we're voting for the presidential election. There wasn't an intern at Major League Baseball who's like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do the
Maybe we should wait a couple days.
Maybe the 4th. Maybe we announced the Gold Glove winners on the 4th. Anyway, that's what made me the maddest yesterday. Mark, welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging on, bud. What's cooking?
Hey, I really appreciate it. I was wondering if you were talking to me. Hang in there, Mark.
Yeah, I didn't want you to hang up because I had to get that off my chest that Major League Baseball stinks.
You got to do that for another Mark, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I really appreciate it. It's like an accomplishment to get on the radio. It's like 3 times in my life.
My man.
Just an observation really quick. I know I got to make it quick, but, myself, like a lot of people were watching last night, and you're thinking, oh, Trump's got this in the bag, like you said a moment ago. And then you wake up this morning, and you just can't help but wonder, every time they keep counting the mail-in ballots, Trump loses ground and Biden gains ground. And in a race this tight, how is that remotely possible? It shouldn't be that.
Here's why I think it's feasible. All right, I'm not going to validate anything, but if you remember, for months, Democrats were like, the pandemic's here. Don't vote in person. Mail in your ballot. Mail in your ballot. Mail in your ballot. Like Democrats were I've got flyers at my house. Like I can't. They've killed 97 trees sending stuff to my house. Democrats and Republicans alike. And Democrats are like, request your mail-in ballot. Don't go to the polls. You're going to die. Mail in, mail in. And on the other side of the coin, President Trump's like, don't you dare trust the post office to mail in. So, the huge numbers that we saw are on the day of. Like, if you went to the polls yesterday in Georgia, it was all Trump voters going in person yesterday. So that's where that early tally came from. I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you, that the mail-in ballots favor Joe Biden. It's the percentages that are like, wow, they're, kind of stunning that they were that much in favor of it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. That helps give a clear perspective on it. And I wonder also how many people kind of fell in the gap. They didn't vote in person. They didn't feel safe, and then they dropped the ball and didn't request an absentee ballot in time. You got to wonder about that too.
Sure. And I think we got hurt here because I remember I went and early voted on Friday of last week, but I was planning to do it Thursday, but my polling location didn't have power. So I was screwed. So I went the next Friday. I bet a lot of people got thrown off schedule there. I wonder if when the history books are written on the 2020 election, if it will be evident that President Trump kind of goofed and said, don't mail in your ballots, Republicans.
100%.
Like he shouldn't have been so, because listen, Democrats, independents, libertarians, Republicans, we're Americans. We're kind of lazy. Right? If I don't have to wait in line for 2 hours, I can just put a stamp on something. And that's the way people do it. Now, granted, I didn't do that. I went early, but I had a 3-minute wait. It was fine. I think President Trump, if he could do a do-over, he would have requested more folks mail in their ballots.
Typically, mail-in and early voting favors Democrats 2-1, 3-1. And in some counties that I saw last night across the country, it was like 6-1, 7-1. So, yeah, I would think that'd be the one big do-over.
But I think that shows the power of the president, like the bully pulpit. Like he was saying to his supporters, it's fraud. It's fraudulent. They're going to screw with your ballot. Don't mail it in. Go in person. That's why I'm not verifying that the vote totals are correct or whatever, but I think it's plausible that there is that big of a lead for Democrats when it comes in mail-in voting, and there was that big of a lead for President Trump with in-person voting. I mean, Ohio crushed it. Huge numbers in Ohio. We'll come back. We'll take more of your calls. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK, on at Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. This is The Mark Arum Show.
Mark Arum on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Fresh off the press vote tally for you, Low T Chuck. President Trump's lead in Georgia has shrunk to 36,000 votes now. It was 84,000 this morning, down to 36. I still, people keep saying back of the envelope math. Who's writing on the back of envelopes?
I write, like, on my desk is scattered with envelopes from junk mail I've opened, and that's what I write all my notes on.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah,
I don't have many envelopes in my life.
I got so many.
I use paper.
I'll give you some.
Okay, thank you. So the back of the envelope math, I don't know if there's enough. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Stay right here. We got you covered. 404-872-0750. Russ in Gainesville.
Russ, come here a minute. I want to talk to you.
Russ, without your vote, the president would only be up by 35,999 votes. So good job, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, I watch Seinfeld every night, and it goes off at 2 a.m. And at 2 a.m., he was winning Trump.
Yeah.
And, so what happened between 2 a.m. and 9 when I get up and it flips the other way? What's going on?
They counted more votes.
They counted more votes. Yeah, exactly right. This is, again, history's going to, this is an interesting chapter in American history. The fact that we voted in a pandemic caused this influx of mail-in ballots, right? The absentee ballots, because without a pandemic, you're not going to see this many mail-in ballots. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, the president's base, I've never seen a more motivated base for their dude, right? Like Obama in 2008, they were really motivated. I get it. The Jews in 2000 for Lieberman, I get it. We were motivated. But the president's base yesterday, nothing. And the president likes to say, the likes of which we've never seen. I've never seen that motivation, right? On the Democratic side, they weren't motivated for Joe Biden. Honestly, if you ask most Democrats, they could take or leave Joe Biden. They're motivated for their hate of President Trump.
Yeah, you could have put Daffy Duck in there.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, insert any name there.
Matter.
It didn't matter. They just were voting against Donald Trump. So you had these huge bases of people that were, just fired up and in the middle of a pandemic. So I don't know. I think the Democrats, you got to give them credit for pushing that mail-in ballot initiative and getting folks to do the mail-ins. Because it paid off in the wee hours when Russ was sleeping. Yeah, what do you think? Is the president going to pull this out? It's a narrow window right now of victory there, Russ.
I don't know. I don't trust this mail-in thing, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Has it ever in the past? Has it ever gone more days pass the election? I thought it was always decided that day.
No, never. Well, I mean, it can be, but the electors don't confirm the ballots until
later this month.
Sometimes later than
December.
that. Yeah, and in 2000, remember we went to the
days before you even got a.
Yeah, went to the Supreme Court with the hanging chads and all that stuff. So this isn't new. What I'm curious to see, and I'm saying this just as a talk show host, right? I want to know, hypothetically, if President Trump loses, right, and the votes are counted, Biden is there, I'm not worried that President Trump isn't going to, hand over the keys to the White House.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
I want to know what President Trump's doing from that moment to
When he
Inauguration
walks out?
Day, like without any repercussions.
In the next 2 months.
Yeah, like what's President Trump doing in the next 2 months where he's not reelected? He's going to be a free, he'll be a citizen. I'm not going to say he's going to be a free man, but he'll be what does that President Trump do? What does the Twitter of that President Trump look like?
Can't wait.
Where he's running out. He's a short timer, as they say in the business, and he's just running out the clock. I kind of want to see that President Trump.
The next 2 months.
Yeah. Or someone said this to me off the record. They wouldn't be surprised if that happens. If President Trump loses, he just resigns and says, all right, Pence, you take the last 2 months out.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But he might want to stay and stir some trouble.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I'm very excited to see what that. I'm not hoping for that, but as a talk show host, I kind of am. That 2 month span of the Trump presidency would be pretty entertaining, I think. Anywho, we'll come back more of your calls. Plus, Johnny Kielbasa with a fast food review. 404-872-0750. Electoral map, Joseph Biden, 253. President Donald Trump, 213. Still counting ballots here in Georgia and across the country. The latest next on 95.5 WSB.
Hey, this is Louis Anderson, and you're listening to The Mark Arum Show.
837, 55 degrees on Peachtree Street, a 4 on the Mark Arum Show back sweat meter. Yeah, bonus Mark Arum Show tonight with you till 9. Then Word on the Street with Shelley Winter, Milani Kai, and DJ Crystal. We'll take you to midnight as we continue our continuing coverage, day 2 of our continuing coverage of election 2020. And we got some breaking news here in the state of Georgia, Longoria. There you go.
Where is Hector?
Joining us for the second time on the program tonight from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, political analyst Greg Bluestein. Greg, the numbers are tightening here in the Peach State. What's the latest on the presidential race here?
I got promoted to analyst. The latest is that President Trump, his lead is now only about 38,000 votes in Georgia. Joe Biden continues to chip away at that lead as more and more absentee ballots are being tallied, and pretty much all the absentee ballots left are from Metro Atlanta or from Savannah, both heavily Democratic areas. So he is looking like he is in good position to at least get near surpassing President Trump, if not surpassing him and giving Georgia, putting Georgia in the blue column, maybe tonight.
Sources tell me there's about 122,000 uncounted ballots, and if the rate of return continues to be what we've seen with Biden for today, that's enough votes for him to overtake the president.
Yeah, you're exactly right. These ballots aren't from Republican strongholds. They're not from North Georgia or from places like Hall County. They're from Metro Atlanta and its suburbs in Chatham County. So all signs point to Democratic, if not victory, just getting real close. It's, of course, too early to project, but Democrats are kind of right there.
And we could be getting, I said this a couple of minutes ago, we could be getting into recount territory. I mean, Vice President Biden might not overtake him, or if he does, it'll be a slim margin. And either way, I think we might be looking at a recount here in Georgia.
You're right, and that won't prevent networks from calling the race, right? That won't prevent any sort of prognostication or from Joe Biden declaring victory overall. But certainly it could complicate the process here in Georgia. And we also have a recently filed lawsuit that also complicates things. It urges a judge to order elections officials down in Chatham County to make sure they're separating the ballots, the absentee ballots that they received after Tuesday's deadline at 7 p.m.
Greg Bluestein from the AJC joining us on the Mark Arum Show. What are we doing in the Senate race, Purdue-Ossoff? Where does that stand now, Greg?
Yeah, real close there, too. Purdue, who once had a pretty solid advantage over John Ossoff, is now at 50.2. The question's not whether or not John Ossoff overtakes him, because he's not. The question is whether or not John Ossoff's rising vote totals bring David Perdue under the 50% mark and basically enforce a runoff in January, making it not one but two U.S. Senate runoffs in Georgia in January that could determine the fate of the control of the Senate.
And that would therefore cancel any holiday plans that the Bluestein family might have, because two Senate runoffs in the state of Georgia mean Greg is working 24/7. Greg, thanks for the second update on the show tonight. That's why we promoted you to analyst now.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
There you go. And on Twitter, at Bluestein, by the way. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk.
And now, on the Mark Arum Show, it's time for the Fast Food Review.
Yeah. Joining us live on the Greasy Salty Hotline from parts unknown, height unknown, weight. Whew, we do not want to know. Johnny Kielbasa and the ever so popular Fast Food Review. How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing great, Mark Arum. I've got important news here, as we've got 75% of the Arby's drive-through reporting here as we swing into holiday season in fast food land. Always got good news when Arby's decides that they're going to have...
No, don't tease me, Johnny. Are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
Deep fried turkey, Mark!
Holy cow. There is a... Chuck, you've been praying. You went to Montana. You went to the shrine there. Longoria's been lighting the Catholic candles. I've been whatever Jews do to pray for food. I've been saying the Jews nugget.
Yosemite.
I've been saying the barucha. That's what it is. The barucha for bread and turkey. You kidding me? Arby's is bringing back the fried turkey sandwich?
They're going to be deep frying it. They're going to be slicing it thick, and they're going to be piling it high on not just one thing and not just two things, but three things, Mark. They're going to start you off with the turkey club, which everybody likes, the star-cut bun. You know it's a special occasion when they pull that out. Mayonnaise, lettuce, tomatoes, the whole thing. A good amount of deep-fried turkey breast, cheddar cheese, pepper bacon to finish that off. Mark, that's not all. If you want to get crazy,
yes,
why not add cranberry spread to the mix and have a sandwich with the cranberry deep-fried turkey? Sandwich with Swiss cheese this time and mayonnaise. My favorite combination of the holiday season, Mark. Cranberry spread and mayonnaise on a sandwich with bacon.
Deborah, you've known me for how many years now? A long time, right?
A couple years, yeah.
Have you ever seen a bigger smile on my face than right now?
No, you even mentioned that it would be in like your special meal the other day.
Yeah.
Remember? You mentioned that.
It is my favorite.
It's like you willed it to happen.
My favorite fast food sandwich of all time, the fried turkey sandwich at Arby's. Johnny, I would, if you were here, I'd kiss you on the mouth, buddy. That is
I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah, that is. We all are. That is such good news. We needed good news, Arby's.
Hey.
The country is torn apart. We'll all come together with the amazing fried turkey sandwich at Arby's. How long do I got to wait, Johnny? Do we know a release date on this puppy?
It's out right now, Mark.
Shut
you
the
can go
front
get it
door.
Tonight.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I wouldn't lead you astray.
Johnny. Oh, and Longoria just started his diet. I'm so sorry, Longoria. I'm so sorry. You look great, though.
I can eat the turkey.
What a terrible time to start a diet.
Yeah,
well, he's got kids. He's got a... Chuck, you remember this sandwich, though. Like, this is...
You and I talked about how disappointed we were when they pulled it off the menu last
my
year.
God. This is literally... I'm not even kidding. This is what the country needs right now. We're so divided. Republican, Democrat, progressive, conservative. We can all enjoy the Arby's fried turkey sandwich. Johnny, well done, my friend. We thank you as always. And...
Hang in there, America. If the cholesterol is high, baby, so am I. Follow me on Twitter, Johnny Kielbasa Rocks on Instagram, and the Sausage Hut Podcast on any pod app or JohnnyKielbasa.com.
All things Kielbasa on JohnnyKielbasa.com. Appreciate you, bruh.
Anytime, bruh.
Oh, my God. I can't believe that. I am literally so happy right now.
Yeah.
I've got meals planned out for the next 2 weeks. Up till Thanksgiving, I will have one of those fried turkey sandwiches every day. The question is, I ate about 4.5 pounds. Maya made spaghetti meatballs last night.
Yeah.
I needed some comfort food before the election, and I had like 3 pounds of it left over today, and I wolfed it down in the newsroom. So I'm stuffed right now, like completely. Maybe I'll get one on my way home and then have it for breakfast tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That is good stuff.
You should do that.
Poor Longoria, too, started the diet.
I know.
And then we had all the Chick-fil-A yesterday.
I couldn't eat any of that.
Yeah.
I could eat the salad, and not even all of it.
Did you see the tray of Chick-fil-A mac and cheese in there?
I did.
Oh,
I
poor
did.
Longoria. Yeah, good for you, though. I'm
But,
proud
you
of
know,
you.
whatever.
I'm proud of you. Mark's in Snellville. Mark, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm actually starving in a fried turkey sandwich, mother of God.
It is
That
so
can't be
good.
real.
It is so good.
Hey, look, Mark, I had something that might be a little outside the box that I cannot wrap my mind around. It has to do with the pollsters. The polls we were all seeing, Trump's going to just get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Right? And it was across the board. Last night, I remember Newt predicting. Newt's got better sources than me, obviously, but then Newt's predicting it's going to be a landslide for Trump. And I think Kaylee said it too. So what is the psychology behind, or is there psychology for either the people that are running these polls or the parties that are reporting on them are either idiots, which I don't believe, or they're lying, which I don't want to believe? Because how could we miss this much, right? So is there a psychology behind, if we tell everybody that we're behind, it's going to force people to go out and vote? I would think that, or if that were ahead, that's going to force people to go out to vote.
Here's what I've learned. You make some great points, Mark. Here's what I think right now. I don't think I think the pollsters did what they do. They asked people. I just think they got it wrong. Like I know a lot of people allegedly that are supporters of Donald Trump won't tell pollsters they are to throw them off, right? What I think what we can look to are the internal polls. Like that I think I can believe. Why do I say that? Why was President Trump and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Barack Obama, why were they in Georgia? Their internal polls showed that this was a close race. Why were they in Pennsylvania? Why were they in Michigan? Because they knew it was a close race. What do you think, Chuck?
I was just going to say, internal polls, they have access to more voter information than like a Quinnipiac and all that other stuff. So when they do their internal polling, it's very specific in very different precincts. General pollsters that the media use, they don't have the resources to get, think about the millions of dollars that's poured into polling from campaigns. That's why they can get specific. That's why everybody's like, why is President Trump pulling advertising out of Florida and he's going to Wisconsin? Because they were pretty much convinced that they had Florida locked up, so they moved to another state when everybody thought it was nuts because the general election polling was saying almost the complete opposite.
I think a lot of this, too, is it's 2020, right? And I don't have a landline. Do you guys have landlines? I don't.
No, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I've had one in 6-7 years.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has cell phones, right? And if someone's calling my phone and I don't know the number, I'm not picking it up, right? So in 1996, I went to Marist College, which is famous for its polls. Very good poll. And they used to be dead on balls accurate because people had landlines. They call up. There wasn't caller ID. You picked up the phone. He goes, oh, yeah, I'll do it.
That might be Frank. You don't know.
Yeah,
You gotta answer the phone.
Exactly. I just think it's a different world now. So going forward, they fooled me in 2016. They fooled me in 2018. They fooled me in 2020. I'm not even going to worry about the polls anymore. No offense to the pollsters. I think they're trying their best. I don't think they're purposely getting it wrong. It's just you can't do it anymore. I trust the internal polls.
Yep.
When President Trump and Vice President Pence and Don Jr. and Eric Trump and Barron went to Six Flags, like they all came to Georgia, they knew Georgia was tight. That's what I'm going to trust, those internal polls. Thanks for backing me up, Chuck. We'll come back, take a couple more of your quick calls, and then it's Word on the Street till midnight, live on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
They demonstrated voter fraud prior to the election. So
where?
Oh my gosh, there were pictures of ballots that were found in dumpsters.
Wow. Hold on, Christine. I'm going to put you on hold. Chuck's going to line you up for Hannity tomorrow. Adrina's up next to the Mark Arum Show. Hey, Adrina, what's going on?
Hi there. How are you?
Excellent. What's going on?
I just wanted to call and actually give you a compliment and to thank you. I tuned in probably about 30 minutes ago when I was leaving the office, and I've been listening to you, and I really appreciate you. I've never called in, but I felt what you were doing is worth a call in, and that is you are not this is a very contentious race. Emotions are high on both sides, and you are not buying into and selling and pushing, oh, it's fraud, and it's uneven. You're actually helping the listeners to understand that, as the commentators, the news people on TV have been saying, do not get caught up into how high the numbers may be at the close of the polls, because all the votes are going to come in.
Here's what we need, Adrina. That's very sweet of you. Here's what everyone needs to do. count the votes. If any candidate wants to sue and check it out, that's fine. That's their right. That's what the system's for. There's nothing you individually can do right now. Just let them count the votes, let the courts sort it out, and we'll find out what's going on. There's no reason to get your blood pressure up on this. There is a reason to get that fried turkey sandwich from Arby's. Mary's up next on the Mark Arum Show. Hello, Mary.
Hi, I completely disagree with exactly what she said and what you agreed with. That we knew ahead of time that there was going to be voter fraud.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Mary?
How do the mail dumped, as that other woman knows. I live on Shepherd's Lane, a busy cut through. I have had the police over here multiple times. I have videoed people going down our street at 4 a.m. stealing mail.
Can you email me that video? It's at mark.arum@wsbtv.com. Email me that video. I would love to see evidence of voter fraud, ballot theft, anything nefarious. You have any evidence? Anyone listening, not just Mary. If you have any evidence of voter cheating, voter fraud, election scandals, you just send it to my email. mark.arum@wsbtv.com, mark.arum@wsbtv.com.
I was just going to say, stealing people's absentee ballots out of their mailbox won't do you any good when your signatures don't match up when they scan the envelopes. So.
Yeah. Well, that
wouldn't amount to much.
All right, there you go. Let's do Star of the Show, Longoria.
And now, are you guys ready for the Mark Arum Star of the Show?
I got to give it to the Bluebird, right? Greg Bluestein. Even though Johnny K made me happy, Greg Bluestein came on twice on the Mark Arum Show, and maybe he'll appear on Word on the Street, which is going to be live from 9 to midnight, which means they might have the scoop on what happens in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona. Don't go anywhere. We got your coverage here throughout the overnight, and the very latest tomorrow morning on Atlanta's Morning News. Go to sleep, little baby.
Guests of the Mark Arum Show stay at the All Suite Omni Hotel, located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile.